Hello, everyone. We are back here in the AMA for the Edge Impulse Hackathon. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing very well. How are you today, Mark?
I'm good. I'm a bit tired. It's late here, but yeah, ready to see how we can help more developers to join the hackathon. So, first of all, let's see if it works. So, we are streaming live on Discord. Let me share my link here, and on YouTube. So, I'm not sure on Discord. Can everyone hear me? Um, this is always the ritual that we do when we do this. Okay, they can hear me. Oh wow, how that's possible. So we're gonna try to share today's screen from StreamYard to. Let's see if I can make it happen. 1 second, everyone. So let's see if we can share this screen here. So everyone will be able to see the YouTube. So we can stop cameras on Discord if you want, and everyone can watch basically the live stream from StreamYard. So how are you today? Maybe we can introduce ourselves. My name is Marcos. I'm Deborah at Edge Impulse. I'm hosting this hackathon for all of you. Maybe Brian, you want to do a quick introduction?
Yeah, hey everyone. It looks like we've got familiar faces watching in Discord, so you probably already know who I am, but I'm Brian McFadden. I'm a developer relations engineer at Edge Impulse. Mark and I are on the same team, and Mark is leading the efforts on this hackathon, but I'm supporting. So I'm here to answer questions, whether it's in these live streams, whether it's in Discord. I'm here to be a resource for you throughout this and help you understand Edge Impulse and submit some awesome applications. Well, sorry, today we're going to talk about applications, but submit awesome models, submit applications. I'm here for you. So that's my quick little intro there.
Exactly. And remember, this is an AMA AMA session. Ask me anything session. So it's about you. So we can talk forever, Brian and me. But we want to answer your questions. If you have any questions about the hackathon or an Edge Impulse project, please let us know. Okay. A bit of recap. This is the third session that we are doing, the third AMA session. The first one with David at Embedded World North America in Anaheim. We explain how to document a great project if you want to submit a project for the hackathon, how to basically document a project that can get a lot of chances to be successful on the Edge Impulse Hackathon. If you haven't watched that, go to the YouTube from Edge Impulse and search it on the. I think there is a playlist, right, Brian? In the YouTube.
There is a playlist. I set it up last week, and I'll be updating it again after today's episode. I don't have the European time zone up there in the playlist yet, but if you go to the Edge Impulse YouTube channel, the playlist is there on the home tab. And as we do these sessions, we'll be adding them every time at the end of the session.
Yeah, last week it was all about the first track, as you're going to see. So Edge Impulse Hackathon has basically two main tracks. First one, it's a model deployment. The second, which is the topic from today's call, it's Edge AI applications. So we will give a lot of good ideas and a lot of interesting already existing projects on Edge Impulse. And we want to share, some ideas boost your creativity and innovation. But last week, actually, if you missed it, we were talking about model deployment. So even on Monday and Wednesday. So my recommendation is if you missed that and you want to apply for model deployment track on the hackathon, I think it's a very good idea to go to that video and watch it, because there are many, many good ideas from Monday with David and Brian, and Wednesday with Louis and Jim and Owen.
So a quick question there, Mark. I believe we did talk about this last week, but forgive me, I can't remember the answer. If someone wants to participate in both the model track and the application track, that's totally okay, correct? They would just do two different submissions?
I don't know. So what we decided is no. However, my recommendation is that you prove that we are wrong. So if
Ah,
you submit a really good application and you want to submit the second one, just send a message here on Discord to us saying, or just a DM like, I submitted these. This is my project, but I think I have a really great idea on model deployment. So can I? And then we will talk with our partners, Hacker Earth, to enable you to submit a second project.
understood. Yeah, and that was a question coming from Discord, and it looks like they're satisfied with that answer. So the short answer is no, only one track. However, feel free to convince us otherwise. Reach out to us on Discord. If you have a compelling case, we'll figure out how to make it happen.
We have 2 weeks till the submission date, right? The deadline. So do you think that you can do 2 projects, like really good ones, Brian, yourself? Do you think you could win the hackathon?
I have an unfair advantage. I think I could do two very well done projects in 2 weeks, but I've also been at Edge Impulse for nearly 3 years now. And before developer relations, I was in solutions. So all I did was
Wow.
work with enterprise customers to help them with their use cases. So I have a pretty good idea how I would approach this, but unfortunately, I'm ineligible for the hackathon. But yeah, 2 weeks I could crank it out. And that's also the beauty of the Edge Impulse platform, is that once you're familiar with it, it does make things pretty easy and easy to iterate. So I definitely think there's still lots of time to get started and submit an awesome submission, whether it's for one track or for both.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Tell me more about what did you do on solutions, or maybe we can get some ideas from your solution experience. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So today's conversation is about the application track. And maybe after I speak for a couple minutes, Mark, you can pull up the website for that and we'll look through the bullet points of what that track entails again. But what
Yeah.
was really cool about my role in solutions was the fact that I was working with customers or potential customers on their real world use cases. And what was interesting was just seeing the wide variety of different use cases, whether it was time series data, audio data, or image data. I see Mark's pulling up some of our case studies here, and right there in the middle, I didn't work on this one particularly, but that was HP Poly, and they were doing some keyword spotting for their headset devices, so over-the-ear headphones and earbuds. And what was really cool about that was they wanted to do it in multiple languages. So they didn't have the data. So there was a lot of synthetic data generation with different languages, different tones of voice, male speakers, female speakers. Super interesting if you're doing a keyword spotting application. But also I saw everything from power electrical grid monitoring to health applications like Ultra Human does their ring, which is similar to the Aura ring to measure HR, HRV. I saw the industrial asset tracking there. That was a use case I worked on with another solutions engineer with NVIDIA hardware. So we're tracking pallets. So that was object detection. Hyphen the middle there was another audio one. That was audio classification to detect different kinds of coughs and determine the type of disease that the person might have based on the cough. And they had millions of samples of audio, or maybe millions of audio samples, a massive data set. So some cool things there, but then also worked with people doing novel sensors that were detecting lithium-ion batteries within garbage dumpsters so that they wouldn't create fires when they're dumped in the dump trucks. There's all sorts of tech for good applications, from wildlife monitoring. There's quality assurance, so looking at components to see if they're cracked or if they have defects, if they're placed in the right spot on an assembly line. And even beyond that, predictive maintenance, so looking at the machinery itself. There's just, in my year and a half, 2 years in solutions, I just saw such a wide variety of applications. And the point being that there's a lot you can do here. You're totally free to do something that works for you and what interests you. And your application will likely be supported by the Edge Impulse platform.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, there are unlimited. This is what I love from Edge Impulse, basically, that it's not never it's gonna get boring, right? So you can work on so many places now and create value and so many use cases that it's so amazing, the Edge AI technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether your time series data, audio data, image data, and even some novel sensor data, Edge Impulse handles it. So you have a ton of options here for the type of application you look at. Just one quick go for it.
Go ahead.
I was going to say just a little interlude. Venturon was giving us a shout out on Discord. He doesn't have any questions, but he's just saying, hey, again, I'm here. It's becoming a tradition. So giving a shout out to him. He's documenting his project right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing when you actually submit that. And I'm sorry, continue, Mark. I just wanted to give him the shout out.
We have another message from Zero Riz. You want to read it loud yourself, or?
Yeah, I can read it. So from Zero Riz on Discord, they say, I'm planning to build a hardware and software project that uses Edge Impulse model for real-time gesture classification. Since the solution involves both ML, model development inference, and hardware, gesture controlled device, I'm unsure which track this would fall under. What are your first thoughts, Mark?
That's a good question. It depends. My answer is it depends. It depends on the use case, right? Why do you need a real-time gesture classification? Is this really impactful or not really? So depending on the story that you can share related to this project, I would say one or the other. What do you think, Ryan?
My initial reaction was they're talking about hardware and software and talking about building a solution. To me, that sounds like an application. So to me, I think that would be an application track. But like you said, it kind of depends on where the emphasis is. Is the emphasis the end-to-end project, or is it the emphasis is on the model development? To me, just reading the question or the statement there without having more background, it sounds like application track today, or which we're talking about today.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, it sounds more like an application, but it always depends on the story that the user can share, etc. So yeah, good point. Yeah, a lot of luck, Zero Riz. Looking forward to see what you can share.
And also, I can't help but laugh at the username a little bit. So, anyways, I got a kick out of that. Hopefully, you've got more than Zero Riz, but we'll see.
I'm not checking the comments on YouTube and LinkedIn. Do we have anything there?
Unfortunately, my connection is broken. So if you could take a look, I was trying to reconnect live here, and it wouldn't work for me.
We have no comments. Come on, people from StreamYard and from YouTube. We are using StreamYard, but come on for the people who are from YouTube. We have few people on YouTube and LinkedIn, so looking forward to see your comments and your questions for the Edge Impulse Hackathon. So wait a second, because you mentioned about that you were working on the solutions before joining DevRel, Brian. Do you think you can share any real-world story? Even maybe you don't need to share any names or any brands or anything, if that's under NDAs. But yeah, can you please share something that really went on production or almost or whatever?
You're putting me on.
I want to hear like interesting stories.
I should have looked at my notes a little closer. Let me come back to you on that one. I'll do some thinking while you do a bit of talking here, but I'll definitely come up with something. I've got some notes. I'll dig in.
No, actually, something that popped my mind, and I will give you like a hint here. is you when we were preparing for this call, you mentioned something about the dog collars, and there's
Oh
like
yeah, that's right.
that's
Yeah, so
yeah, without mentioning any brand or any that, people can go to our website and kind of figure out, right? But
yeah, yeah,
that's
so
that's
that's
a
an interesting one. Is we've done some work in the pet space with smart feeders, so using computer vision to object detection to identify the exact cat that it is and to identify the amount of food to feed for that specific cat.
oh
Or
wow,
there's
okay,
been applications around that where litter box detection, and based on the pet stool they can determine, is it healthy, is it normal. Some interesting applications around pet health. But the one you're referring to is there's also pet collars out there, and a lot of them are GPS tracking collars, so you have a location on your dog, but since there's hardware there and already on the dog, the hardware has sensors, so accelerometer, gyroscope, and companies are looking at how can they start using that data to determine your pet health. Because what you can do with your accelerometer data, gyroscope data, other time series data is determine the gait of the pet, so the walking pattern. And based on differences in the walking pattern, you can do some anomaly detection to figure out, is this the normal pattern? Is it not a normal pattern? And then from there can dig in and do further diagnosis of your pet's health. So lots of interesting applications from relatively simple devices. And this is where, I know we only have a couple weeks left, but this is where you can get pretty creative on your application based on what you have access to. I don't think my dog's made an appearance today, but I have a dog. What could I put a little dev board on her collar and figure something out?
yeah. No, and that makes, yeah, I think, yeah, helping our pets, it's like, yeah, it makes the world a better place, right? If they are more healthy and trying to help them.
Yeah,
Um,
while we wait for
Go
some
ahead.
more questions to come in, just in case it's someone's first time here, how about pull open the Hacker Earth submission
Let's
page
go.
again, and let's look at the bullet points for the application track. We'll just run through those quickly, and then I
Let's
have
do it.
some ideas about how people can think about this and where to get started.
Yeah, if you are new here, you see the URL here. So this URL goes to the website I'm sharing right now. So let's go to the, yeah, this is the Edge AI application track. So develop innovative Edge AI applications using models trained on Edge Impulse or open source license models. Bring your ideas to life by deploying them on Edge AI hardware. And we mentioned here Arduino, ESP32, Raspberry Pi, Android, whatever devices, Arduino Uno Qs or NVIDIA Jetsons, whatever. Or if you don't have any of these hardware, you can bring another type of hardware, or you can use your phone or your laptop for this, right? So because we are having more and more questions related to the hardware, so if you don't have any hardware available, that's not a problem. So you can use your computer. I think today on Discord, I already asked this question to some of our developers from the community. Like, yeah, no problem. You can use your computer. But actually, before on our conversation, you mentioned, yeah, or they can use their phone. Yes, yeah, the phone as well. It's possible to use it. So what are we going to focus on? No, projects must integrate at least one Edge Impulse model into the working application. You can train your machine learning model or use an existing model. Of course, remember the license of the model. This is important. You can use the feature bring your own model on Edge Impulse. I think we can share this URL at some moment here in the link in Discord. In case the datasets and model are open source, okay, we already mentioned that. In case you are using public dataset, yeah, it's important that in the documentation, yes, don't forget to create references to everything that you use. Okay, as more documented is your project, the better. Okay, what else? Yeah, and focus on innovation, creativity. We already mentioned some very good ideas, right, with the pet colors and some others from the case studies. And yeah, we would love to see these real world problems solved with Edge AI. And feel free to suggest, yeah, creative solutions. And actually, something that I really like that we are seeing more and more is this. I'm not sure what you think about it, Brian. We never talk about this, but I really love this concept of um, machine learning model cascading. So one machine learning model, basically the outcomes of that machine learning model just trigger another model waiting. So for example, I was at Embedded Wallet something, and Foundries had an interesting demo with a microphone. So you could say select, and that when select word keyword was detected by the model, then another model was triggered, if I'm not wrong, and then it was trained at different colors. So you could say select blue, and all the lights in the stage move to blue, change to blue. And then you could say select, and then red, and then all the lights move to red. So I really like this idea of model cascading. We also have another model cascading with a BLM use case, right? Or example with a parking slot.
Yeah, I like the idea of model cascading as well. I'm not sure if it will be too advanced for some users in
Yeah,
this
maybe not.
hackathon in a couple weeks, but Edge Impulse is capable of it. And that is definitely when you start going towards the real world, that is, especially with the prospects I spoke to, it was rarely one model that they want to implement. It was one model that did something, one model did something else, and then say a third model maybe fed into those models. And an example is, say you were doing some sort of image classification or object detection where you wanted to distinguish between, I'm trying to think of something on the spot without saying the actual use case because it was confidential. And of course, that's all I can think about now. Uh, but, but, but say you wanted to, okay, let's go cars. We've done VLMs with cars. So say the first model would detect, is there a car in this image? And that was all it would do. It'd say, okay, yes, there's a car here. And then what the application would do would cut out the box where the car is, send it to a secondary model where you get additional detail. And sometimes why you're doing that is because trying to do it all in one model, the model could become quite large and you need a ton of training data. So especially in the VLM case, we're feeding the cars to the VLM, they're better with a smaller context. So you start with this object detection model. Hey, is there a car in this image and where is it? Yep, it's here. Cut that out and feed it to a secondary model. And there's also things where the secondary model, especially a VLM, is going to use a lot more energy and processing power than a simple object detection model. So you play with the game about how to conserve power and resources and use them most efficiently. Anyways, I think I got off track there, but yes, model cascading is definitely interesting. It's definitely something that's getting built out more and more in the Edge Impulse platform. And most real world use cases are asking for it. So if you have the time,
Yeah,
if you have the idea, definitely interested to see model cascading in the application track.
yeah. That's. I mean, I'm not sure now if on Discord people can hear me. Avid was mentioning that we were echoing and I was popping. So I don't know if people can hear me now on Discord. That I mute myself on Discord. Let's hope that StreamYard can share the audio there. But if people cannot do model cascading, that's fine. I would love to see what's next on this project, right? A section on the documentation explaining, okay, what we would like to do next. It's this thing, no, and just try to bring. We have many comments on the Discord chat. Maybe we can go there.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was looking at. But the first question is, can Discord still hear us? I just tried to get rid of that echoing and popping,
yeah,
but I don't think they can.
let's see if they can hear us. Let's see. Let's hope.
Lost for a few seconds.
Okay. So maybe this is it. Yeah, we need to improve this now. Okay, so now you can hear me, right? So, okay, let's unmute and let me try to unmute StreamYard thing. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah. Okay, and then while you're going through that and playing with audio settings, hopefully it's okay on Discord. Apologize if there's an echo. We'll just have to bear with it for today. I don't know, there's something with the StreamYard Discord and getting a proper setup that we've been battling. Anyways, a couple more questions were coming in. Zero Riz just says, silly Discord username I forgot to change, but he followed up his question and saying that, what did he say? So since my project is mainly hardware focused and the ML model is just one part of the system, I do believe it fits better in the application track. Yep, absolutely. That sounds like where it would fit. And then could you share some examples of some of the coolest application track projects you've seen in past hackathons, just to get a sense of what kind of projects usually stand out? So Mark and I, this is both our first hackathon at Edge Impulse, so we don't have examples from previous hackathons. And I believe one of the previous ones we ran, it might have been 2021 or 2022. Yeah. But I believe it was related to elephants and elephant conservation. So it was more well-defined than this one, where this hackathon's kind of more open-ended. However, coming up shortly, we'll give you some ideas on how to get started, some places to look at applications such as the expert projects, the use cases, tutorials, and then I've got some ideas there. And then
in the past, I organized some hackathons, and to me, the most interesting projects are the ones who are very well documented and there is a story behind. They are solving a real world problem. So my recommendation is to go towards that direction.
And that ties into VL's question on Discord, which is talking about, should my project aim at solving real world problems or to enhance real world experience? And we use the word real world problems, but I think it encompasses both of what you're talking about, VL. I don't exactly know what you mean about real world experience, but if you're building upon another application to make that experience better, I think that's completely acceptable. It doesn't have to be a unique problem that no one solved before. If you're building upon an existing application and making the experience better, I think that's totally valid.
And then VL's had another question.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then the follow-up there is, should the data set be real, or can we use smaller synthetic data set and optimal data set size suggestion? So real or synthetic, we'll talk about that first. Either one works. The key with your data set is the data set should reflect the problem you're trying to solve. So whether that is synthetic data and you've generated it because you don't have access to the data collection's time consuming, costly, and it might not just be possible to generate all the scenarios you need. Synthetic data is absolutely applicable. And coming back to the example at the start of the call was HP Poly. They generated synthetic data for multiple languages in multiple tones of voice and multiple male and female voices, because they didn't necessarily have access to all of that. And that is a live model in production with a well-known company. So yeah, absolutely synthetic data is okay. Real data, I'm a big fan of real data as well, because if you can collect real data from your real world use case, you can't really beat it. And then you can supplement that with synthetic data to get a more robust model. Short answer, synthetic data or real world data, absolutely fine. And the follow-up to that was data size suggestions. And then this is a classic it depends moment, because it depends if you're training a model from scratch what is the capacity of that model, meaning how many neurons and weights are there. And if you're using transfer learning, you can get away with a lot smaller data set. If you're training from scratch and you have a large capacity model, you need a much larger data set. Otherwise, you run into the potential of overfitting. So there's this kind of idea in theory of growing the model and the data set together. So what you do is start with a relatively small, simple model and a relatively small data set, and you would train your model, and as that model's results diminish, then you increase its capacity. When it starts overfitting, you increase the data set, and it's kind of this give and take on data set size. So there's no definitive answer, but some of the transfer learning models in Edge Impulse, you can get started with, call it 50 to 100 images. Like, it's quite easy to get started. If you wanted to train something like our YOLO Pro and not using pre-trained weights, I'm trying to remember, I wrote the doc for it. I think we recommended the engineers like 100,000 images. So there's a large scale from 100 to 100,000, really depends on the model, the application, and a number of other factors.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, but as before, so VL, just document everything and just let us know. I went here to the Hacker Earth Hackathon prices list. I think it's interesting. So we will give $12,000 in cash to the best overall project, 5,000 and 5,000 to best on each track on model development and Edge AI application. Then we have a special impact award called AI for Good of $5,000, and finally a student award of $3,000, plus a lot of other goodies and things that we want to share as well. And actually, I found by serendipity a project that basically, when I start to read it, sound like a potential proposal for AI for Good. Of course, it cannot be applied because it's made by one of our expert network. But I wanted to share it here, Brian, just to get your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So I found on Hackster this project. I'm not sure if you know it. AI-driven LoRaWAN fertilizer pollution detector with WhatsApp.
I mean, I know it to the extent that I've seen this link, but I'll admit I've never actually read this project. I don't know exactly what the application is, but if you want to run through it and we can talk about it, that sounds great.
Exactly. So this is a 2-year-old project, actually. And I love all related to LoRaWAN. So this is what that popped into my mind. Like, okay, what fertilizer pollution detector? Oh my God. So you need to be like a real expert, right? On fertilizers and probably farming. So let's learn more about it. So what do they use? So they use a Seed Studio SenseCap, a LoRaWAN Vision AI. So basically what it is, it's a piece of hardware, like basically an enclosure. It's IP69, so it's waterproof with a camera. And it doesn't send images, it sends what it's detected. So like a text or something to be a LoRaWAN. So it's like, I think it's 200 bytes, the message. So that's really interesting. And then this is a Seed Studio SenseCap M2 data only LoRaWAN indoor gateway. This is a Helium LoRaWAN gateway, only data only. So you cannot get any token from Helium, but it's a LoRaWAN gateway. Then an Arduino Nano, late Panda. I don't know if this is a FPGA or something. I don't know. What else? Edge Impulse Studio Twilio for WhatsApp and Arduino IDE. So this is important, right? If you don't use tape, you use hot glue, right?
Got to have the hot glue gun in there, every project.
Exactly. I use more tape than hot glue, but so this user looks like it's. So go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were taking a pause as you were scrolling. I was just going to mention over in Discord, we're getting some love for LoRaWAN.
Oh, fantastic. So let me share the link here. Yeah, I forgot to share it. Put it everywhere. Okay. So basically, wants to detect if in a specific field fertilizers have been used. So I'm not sure how the model it's trained. Oh, but yeah, you see the display. It says it's toxic, unsafe, or it's enriched. You see here. Oh yeah, you see the image of the
Yeah,
camera.
without
I'm not sure.
reading the project, what looks to me is that they're using a maybe image classification or object detection model to identify the amount of fertilizer placed on top of the soil to determine whether it's a healthy amount, under fertilized, or a toxic amount.
Yeah.
And great thing with Edge AI is, like you said, that inference happens on device, but then the communication up to whatever monitoring station they're using is just a small message. It's not all the data.
Yeah, and what I like from this is that it's well documented. A lot of images, a lot of extended text explaining why things are done as well. Yeah, this 3D printing, this is not needed maybe, no, to design the enclosure. But yeah, it looks like this expert network, this expert user, he loved the 3D printing and design its own enclosure.
Yeah, and I think what you're pointing out here is the completeness of the project. It really is an end-to-end application and well documented with lots of images, some supporting text, the hardware included, the coding. Like, this is a complete end-to-end application.
At the end, these are the tiny details, right, that will make a project excellent or very good, right? So yeah, probably the winners will be excellent projects. But there will be a lot of very good projects that will not reach that point, right? So yeah, you're right.
And on that note, though, is I don't want people to be intimidated to submit their application because they don't think it's good enough. Because what's the famous quote by Gretzky? Well, actually, you're in Spain. Maybe you don't know NHL hockey that well, but it's a quote like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So it's like, if you're working on an application, submit it. You never know what's going to happen. If you don't submit it, you're guaranteed not to win. But get your application in there, believe in yourself, get it done and make it happen. Like, don't hold back and eliminate yourself. Let us, the panel, review your project.
Exactly. And I like this quote as well, that it says that done is better than perfect.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's along the same theme there. Like, do a project, submit it. There's some real cash on the line here. And maybe everyone else was too afraid to submit their project and you end up being the winner. Like, it's worth a shot.
So it's interesting that here it trains adding chemical fertilizers to train the machine learning model. That's super interesting. Look, the toxic killed the tomato. So it's I really like this project. I don't know, maybe it's too long. We're still here.
There's a lot of pictures of plants.
Exactly, a lot of pictures. But yeah, I found it really interesting, mixing a lot of technologies and as well solving a problem, right? That just I like as well. I have some Edge AI projects sending Telegram messages on a bot just to understand what's happening in real time. So I think it's as well a very good idea to give this interface with the final user using chats.
I have
I'm not sure if you have any questions.
Yeah, I have an administrative question from Zero Riz again on Discord. Is, can you register even on the last day? Like, as long as you register and submit by November 30th, I believe that's okay. There's no end to the registration date.
Let me check. Let's go to the timeline. So the submission deadline, it's the 30th of November. I think we decided that it was midnight Pacific time zone. So you're midnight, Ryan?
Yeah, but in terms of the registration, so the registration opened on October 1st, but there's no registration closing period. It would just close on the submission deadline.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, good point.
And then we've got another question being typed out, but we'll wait for that question, but then maybe where I'd like to go after that in this conversation, Mark, is that I know for me personally, when I'm working on hackathons or even just a demo example to test out new hardware, I have trouble thinking about what idea I should start working on. And I personally sometimes start to get overwhelmed. Should be this, should be that. That's not good enough. That's too complex. Do you have an idea of how to generate ideas and how to get started? And maybe while you start there, I've got some more thoughts, but I'll take a look at the questions again.
Yeah, so usually when I want to get ideas, one of the things I do is I check here on the docs on the expert network project list, basically what have been done in the past, right? And this project has been carefully built and very well documented. So I think it's a very interesting place to start and getting ideas or trying to understand what's already been done with Edge Impulse. In the other hand, what I also like to do is to try to build things that solves tiny issues that I have every day. So yeah, if I need a specific things, try to see how I can solve them with Edge AI. But maybe we can give a quick, or I don't know, what do you do, Brian, to get inspired?
That was definitely one of my recommendations is expert network projects. And I took some notes here actually as I was thinking about it. I kind of had 3 ideas about how to get started. So the first idea, you said it already. So look at an expert network project, get some inspiration. But what's also cool is that you don't necessarily have to do a completely brand new, unique project. Maybe you see one of those expert network projects and you feel it's incomplete. So maybe you build upon it and take some pieces that are already created. So that was my first suggestion, was extending existing projects. I thought that's a cool way to get started because it already gives you a base, a framework to work from, and you can reproduce it and extend it. So I thought that was an interesting way. And then,
very good idea, basically. Yeah, and we were talking before about model cascading, right? So it really fits very well on this idea, right? Extending a project.
Exactly. You could tie it in with model cascading. I wasn't even thinking about that, but absolutely. If you take an existing project, existing model, cascade it into your own model, create a new application, very cool way to approach it. Another idea, and I was thinking about on the DevRel team generating some content around this, is I like the idea of taking an existing AI product that's in the market, so something that is fully already in production, but then kind of reverse engineering it and going back to the start and saying, if I was the founder of this company and this was my idea, what would my very first proof of concept look like? And I don't know if you want to put it in the chat. I have an example. It's getcarv.com. So getcarv.com. I can toss it in the Discord chat. Oh, it didn't.
Simple get carve.
Yeah, get carve, CAR, and it's a AI skiing device
with B.
And maybe if you can share your screen there.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah. So this is a product that's in the market for a few years now, and they've obviously improved it and added a ton of functionality, but it's this little device that attaches to your ski boot and gives you feedback on your skiing. So identifying your turns, if your skis are parallel or not. This sticks out to me because I love skiing. I just moved to a ski hill. It's my permanent residence now. So what I wanted to do is like, can I reverse engineer this? Can I start with my cell phone, collect some data, and then could I move that up to a dev board that I strap to my skis? Can I mimic turns in my garage versus out on the hill? So I think this is a really interesting idea from not starting from scratch. It's like, what's already out there? How do I reverse engineer it and show the initial proof of concept? And it's a proven application. And it's just like, how do I use Edge Impulse to replicate that? So I thought that was a really interesting way to get started.
Super interesting, actually. Yeah, very good idea. No, this point of, what would be the MVP that you can, no? What if I want to do this? Yeah, that's a really good idea.
And then my third point. So the first point is extending existing projects such as Expert Network. Second point was, can you do a proof of concept for an existing product that's in full production? The third one is, what do you have access to? Like, what do you have around the house? I mentioned I have a dog. I could do something with the pet collar, and I have access to a dog. Not everyone does, but you probably have access to something in your house, in your work environment, where you do your hobbies, whatever they may be, that is maybe not specifically unique to you, but it's something that, like, Mark and I live in very different parts of the world, have different lives. Like, there's got to be something that's unique, that's different between both of us, that's around your house and what you have access to. I think that's a great place to start, because you don't want to overcomplicate it and have to travel to somewhere to collect data.
Yeah.
Like, what do you actually have access to? What can you do with what you have in your resources already?
And let me give like a fourth idea, but basically it's not a fourth idea. It's merging your second and third idea. That there are products that today, well, and basically it's merging the three ideas at the end. That your 3 points that are genius. There are products already in the market that maybe are in our houses and they have an public API. So why don't we, with HAI, add functionalities on that system and feed the API of that product? So actually, I found here a project that Owen, our colleague at Deborah, made for Maker Faire in Rome. That basically was, he built a project to stop a 3D printer when a camera was detecting that it was printing not properly the 3D print, right? So what happened basically is when the camera was detecting, like, what it's called a spaghetti on a 3D printer, basically sent an API call to Octoprint that was running connected to the 3D printer and stop the print to save, your plastic materials. So basically, I love maybe to merge your ideas with maybe this product has an API, REST API ready to interact with, so people can apply innovation on the top of this existing product.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and it does lean into the overall theme of my suggestions. Is you don't have to start from scratch. You can elevate an existing product application. Like, it doesn't have to be, that's my problem, is I usually think it needs to be completely novel. It has to be my own IP. No, it doesn't. There's lots of ways to elevate existing products or reproduce existing products with your own spin on them.
Let me post these again. And as well, everyone see my StreamYard. That is because I want to share the URLs.
Yeah. All right, well, you're sharing the URLs. I had one more thought that came to mind, and one of them, a way to kind of get maybe some ideas, is to actually review what the platform's capable of. So the platform, our core functionality is time series data, audio data, image data, some novel sensor data. Basically, we can ingest most kinds of data. Our models that are built in and super easy to access are, so I'm getting some feedback as well now. Our models that are in our pre-built models, pre-existing blocks are classification. So again, image, time series, audio. We have regression blocks. We have object detection blocks, image classification, keyword spotting, transfer learning. There's a lot built into the platform already. So maybe just from there, you can get a starting point like, well, I want to do anomaly detection, or I want to do visual anomaly detection. And that's within the platform already. So that makes it super easy. Edge Impulse is extendable with a ton of custom blocks, and even the developer plan has access to custom machine learning blocks. You can do custom processing blocks. You just have to host them yourself, but that's all in the documentation. So, I mean, see what's available in the platform and start from there. Like, visual anomaly detection is a really interesting area, especially in manufacturing quality assurance. So that's another way to get started, is what is the platform capable of? Go from there.
Yeah, I'm sharing again the Expert Network project list. Actually, I was on the audio projects list, and I saw a lot of snoring projects. Snoring detection on a smartphone.
Snoring is a real world problem.
No, and in the other hand, it's a snoring detection on a smartphone. So on your Android phone, or I'm not sure what's on this. Let's open this one. So you don't need any specific hardware. You can do it right from.
Yeah, and that builds off two of those points. It's an existing project, and well, actually, maybe you have a partner that snores, or maybe you don't, but maybe you have access. You definitely have access to a phone. Most people do. I imagine you have that. So, existing project, you have some hardware, and maybe you can generate some synthetic data for snoring.
Yeah, or you can record yourself, and then maybe as with the philosophy that you were sharing before, maybe the next it's to learn. Maybe with a camera, with the infrared, you can record. If you have snoring problems, or you know anyone, you can record and try to understand what's the position that makes that person snores, or snoring or not, and then create some recommendations or on how to sleep better or in a better situation. For snoring as well, so we can mix maybe data from watches, or there are many. So you can merge data from the snoring classification with your Apple Watch, or I have a Withings watch, or whatever, to measure your bit per minute or something. To understand as well, to give more information, mix that, and then I don't know if you add images or something, just create recommendations for that user and try to tell them how to sleep better, or what position it's better or not, or what.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, we only have 5 minutes left, so how about we do a little bit of recap? If there's any final questions in the audience, please type them out now. Let us know. We'll try to squeeze them in before the end of the hour here. But let's go with what we talked about today. So today was all about the application track. We gave a ton of examples from prospects that I've worked with, from expert network projects, the Hackster project. The application track is wide open. We didn't restrict it to a specific use case. There's lots of different ways to get inspired, build upon an existing project, try to reproduce a product that's in production and do the POC for it. Is there a product that has an API that you could extend it with some intelligence? There's all sorts of ways to get started. But I think the big point I'd like to drive home today is what you said, like, done is better than perfect. Build something, get it done, get it submitted. Don't block yourself. Get something in there. Let us review it. And who knows, you could win some big cash. Like you said, there's lots of different, so there's the best prize in each track, there's the best overall project, and then I forget the other ones that were in there, but there's lots of ways to win money. You just got to get something in there. We're here, we're in Discord, we'll be doing these weekly for, I guess it's another 2 weeks to help out. That's my recap, Mark. Anything else you want to?
And actually, just to complement, I would say it's not only about making money, and this is why I like this concept of a real world, these real world stories, right? That we are real world problems. It's like you can help to fix some problems that you have, submitting them, and then make some money. But the most important thing is that helps you. I don't know, if you are snores, that can help you to sleep better. Maybe you are going to win or not, but that's a real story, a real problem. And
I kind of glossed over the actually making your life better and enjoying it and having fun and getting together with a team and maybe building new connections. There were people in Discord looking for teammates. Like, you might meet someone new there and build something really cool and get inspired by someone who lives across the world. So yeah, it's not just about cash. I do emphasize that because I think I could win it, and I'm jealous that I can't get involved. But
and you know what? I used the hackathons in the past when I used to develop some applications for hackathons 20 years ago to work with friends who I didn't have the opportunity to work with usually. So that's as well a good point. Like, contact your friends that can help you to make this application, of course. And that's a perfect excuse to invest some days together working on something. And we have some questions.
Well, VL just added to the point saying that it adds value building your portfolio, great learning exposure, gives you maybe a showpiece if you want to show a potential employer during interviews. Like, there's lots of value to it. And then
if you're a student, I think it's great. It's great for your portfolio and to mention.
And then Zero Riz was asking about the estimated total number of projects, nothing official, just inside scoop. I don't think we're ready to share those numbers. Maybe at the end we'll share a total number of participants and submissions. I can say the submissions have been flowing in. There's a large number of participants, and we're expecting, as the deadline comes, for those submissions to creep up even more. But the submissions are flowing. It's not like unruly. Like, you have a chance. If you get your submission in there, you definitely have a chance.
Yeah. No worries about submissions. Just try to explain your story, document it well. It's gonna be fun. What else? I think BL is typing on Zero Raise as well. I think it was a good session. What do you think? We gave a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, and that's what those comments were thank you for the feedback and the insights in the session. So thank you for joining. We're doing this for you guys. So we'll see you next week. And if you're in the European time zone, there's also one on Wednesday each week. So Mark will be there with some other people on our team, and let's see what you can do.
Exactly. On Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central European time zone. It's going to be sunny here on my window. So see you there. If not, see you next Monday, same time. And let us know if you need anything on Discord or in the forums of Edge Impulse.
All right. Have a good day, everyone. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next time.
And let's